So, Saul Seki-sung is competing with us for the most amount of times accused of something we didn't do. The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out a nervous sweat all at the same time. Oh, I didn't think I'd have to be back here so soon. Back to back to back. That's my line! Good morning! Good morning, Mr. Nutsmare. It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here. Yes, we somehow managed to prove he didn't stab Miss Green in the back. But now this! Another morning, another murder! And here I am again in this hellhole! Kids keep coming to court! Beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed. Mr. Nuttleholder, I'm afraid I have bad news! Oh! Mr. Nutsmith, good morning. Yes, morning. So, here we are again. Yes, again. Judicial system is Mikoto by Esquires! What's the bad news? Oh dear. You heard, did you? If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say! I am sorry. You've done nothing wrong, Mr. Suttle. What is it? Well, it seems that the prosecution in today's trial will be led by Lord Baroque von Ziegs. Von Ziegs? Ah! No! Oh no, 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 no! Yes. The so-called Reaper of the Bailey. The most legendary prosecutor in the land. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Saul Seki-sung and I relentlessly. Of course, by the skin of our teeth, we managed to pull through, but still. Perhaps Mr. Nutsmare's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter. After all... Yes, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says... Nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Baroque von Ziegs is the prosecutor. Oh no! And even if the person is found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another. And we've experienced it firsthand. The man we successfully defended met the most terrifying end after his acquittal. Right here in the Old Bailey. Ah! You have to pull him with those ice-cold eyes pouring into my soul again! Cursed by evil spirits and not by the Reaper! Pair of petrifying perils, potentially! Well, if it's potentially... At least you appear to have hope, Mr. Nutsmare. Look, I'm shooting Mr. Nuttleholder, Esquire! Yes? I'm innocent! You have to believe me! You more than anyone now! Don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally at every step of the way in this battle. I promise. This promises to be a hard battle, Iffy. Well, the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom. Let's go. Yes, I forgot to say. I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean. Actually, yeah, well, was he the entire time? That's probably for the best. Oh! If he were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that could be seen as a weakness. If Lord Von Zieks were to notice, he'd prey on him mercilessly. At least, that's my gut feeling. Mr. Nuttlehuddle. You're right. Yes, you're so right. Oh, well said, Lancashire, Mr. Nuttlehuddle, Esquire. Well said. I swear on this sword at my side, and on the spirit of Kazuma that it harbors. Show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free with honor. Oh yes. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. Prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. Readiness for the trial, my learned Nipponese friend, is not what the defense needs. What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat. Sure. It's not just my imagination. It's really there. Lord Von Zieks has such an animosity towards us Japanese for some reason. Some time ago now that he first became known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. Why is it so dark? What the heck? This past few years, he hasn't appeared in court at all. Yet now, he's in the courtroom. He's back in the courtroom. But for some reason, only when I'm defending. This Reaper, with his curious disdain for us Japanese, this prosecutor shrouded in mystery. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering that. I have to concentrate on Soseki's trial. Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty? Absolutely! I'm feeling this larrikin wasn't innocent before! I must say that I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat refuses to sit right. Oh, I rather like how you're wearing your hat. I think the ruthless look is very fetching, actually. I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Let's make this quick. I couldn't agree more. I need to take home 5 bob tonight or the missus will go through the roof. Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here and lead his flock to a righteous verdict. The British jury system is so very different to our own, isn't it? We don't even have a jury. It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of judgment is in the hands of 6 members of the public. That judge can only pass sentence when all jurors are in agreement about the defendant's guilt. 6 citizens of London, chosen at random, or at least that's the idea. Prosecution would draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for duty today. Very well, let us commence the trial. Lord Von Zieks, your opening statement, please. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision. However, the innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Nipponese before has had dire consequences. Did the accused repent for his wrongdoing in that affair? Far from it. Instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate a most blood-curdling crime. Namely, that of the attempted murder of his neighbouring lodger, an innocent Englishman. Oh shoot, I forgot to check this, sorry. This is the teacup from which Mr. Nutsmere was drinking. Yes, unlike the other one, the inside of the cup is completely clean. Suppose he must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark. I always gulp it down too. Sorry, Mr. Nuttlehoodle? If you just sip it little by little, it goes cold. Clearly, I shall have to instruct you in the proper way to take tea. Anything else? This must be the cup that Mr. Shamspeare was drinking from then. It's stained on the inside. Tea does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea. Really? I've never noticed before. I've never noticed. I never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. Drink tea while it's hot. That's the Japanese way, isn't it? Oh dear. So many people seem to have the wrong idea about our culture. And most of them are Japanese. Well, what's going on here? Anything else? Got some lip marks. I'm not seeing anything else we can investigate. But yeah, it looks like both of them had sips. It's just one drank it quicker than the other. Alrighty then. To explain the circumstances of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witness to the stand. He's gonna do that every time, isn't he? The detective responsible for investigating the scene and the accused himself. Witnesses, your names and occupations, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. Soseki Nutsmere from the Empire of Japan. The government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture. Mr. Natsume. Yes, my lord, sir! Quite sure I'm not mistaken. That you swore an oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. I remember it as if it were yesterday. Might as well have been, yes. The day before, in fact, my lord. But close enough. Leave me. It's the last place I want to be. Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court. Right you are, sir. The incident occurred at the Garadeb household where the defendant has lodgings. The ground floor room of the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare. The defendant has already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Mr. Shamspeare collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning by strychnine. He was found in the following morning with a landlord, suspecting something was wrong, broke down the door. This means, I presume, that the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident. Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry to or exit from the room impossible. Although the victim, Mr. Shamsby, lives to tell the tale, he very nearly didn't. The man was halfway to heaven when we first found him. I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. And I have a photographic print here that I took at the time to show how it looked. Yes, a chilling scene indeed. The man looks very much deceased. That's right. Everyone present and believes that that's exactly what he was. Very well, I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court. Now then, Mr. Natsume. Yes! Yes! As the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture? They're haunted by evil spirits. Good gracious! What's haunted? My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. The tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances. A woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside. My neighbor was poisoned. And me? What about me? I've nearly been killed countless times. Killed Mr. Natsume? How? Even on that fateful night it happened, when I returned from Mr. Shamsby's room. I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me! You must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsume. But it's cold! My body nose would freeze! The point is, I didn't poison my neighbor! Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed? Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of events. If I could raise one more point, my lord. One more conclusive point. Conclusive! Go on. Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shamsby, has regained consciousness after his ordeal. And he has named the true culprit. The poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea that he drank on the night in question. Tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused. The accused? Good grief! Oh! Yes, that's the crux of this whole case. If Soseki-san is innocent, then why? Why has the victim accused him? Well, Mr. Natsume, what have you to say to this accusation? Good evening, yes. I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamsby's room. As a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I brought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never will I touch tea again! Never! The public pump was frozen, you say? That's not information we've heard before. That will do, thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses at least once. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for a formal testimony. I presume the prosecution has no objection? None whatsoever, my lord. Good. Then you will give your account of events on the night in question to the court now. Yes, my lord! It was around 9 o'clock that evening when I visited my neighbour and I took some tea with me as a gift. We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11. Ah! My tea was completely harmless! He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he? Strychnine takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guests left. The argument still stands. Yes, I see. It all seems relatively straightforward. Excuse me, but the testimony does raise one rather crucial point, I think. Mr. Nutsmere claims his tea to have been harmless. Presumably, though. The teacups have been examined for traces of poison, haven't they? Why didn't I think of that? Well, as it happens, no. We haven't been able to. Did I hear you correctly, Inspector? Scotland Yard has failed to examine the suspect's substance. How could you have overlooked something so important? Isn't that the first thing you should have done? My learned Nipponese friend is falsely incensed. The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the tea, not that it was overlooked. Unable? Why? It's simple enough. There was none left. Not a drop. Someone must have been very thirsty indeed. With current scientific techniques, it's not possible to test for poison under such circumstances. We only need a drop, but that one drop does actually have to exist, funnily enough. The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question. I see. Thank you. The matter is clear now. Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend. What? You can see it in their faces, I'm sure. The recognition of the accused's guilt. Your client's fate is all but sealed. In mere moments from now, you will lose, and your compatriot will be damned for all eternity. So confident. It's right, I can feel all 6 of the jurors looking daggers at me. I can't let them beat me down. I won't! Counsel for the defense, proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord! Okay, so it was around 9 o'clock that evening when I visited my neighbour. Okay, fair enough. We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink. Yeah, a nice hot drink, only one of you drank it immediately anyway. Around 11. The tea was completely harmless. Is it strychnine? I should probably Google that. Takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't. Okay. Would have been perfectly able to lock the door. Looks like we're pressing because I'm not sure if any of this is relevant except for this picture. Well, Well, besides the wet floor, I'm not seeing, in the scene we saw earlier, I'm not seeing anything that can help us here for now. I'm not sure if this contradicts anything they've said. It's important, but I'm not sure if it necessarily contradicts anything. Don't know when this is going to come in. These two. Julio.
Hold it!
Were you and your neighbor good friends then? Ah, no! We weren't friends! Not at all! Never, ever! Simple no would have sufficed. I know it doesn't make sense, but it's just funny. Anyway, why did you decide to pay him a visit? Mr. Shamsby fancies himself as having great literary knowledge. As a fellow scholar of English literature, we find much to talk about together. Come now, no Nipponese could understand the finer points of English literature. And on the night in question, that was the topic of conversation as well, I presume. It was the day of my last trial, when I was acquitted. I just arrived back at my lodgings, and I ran into Mr. Shamsby outside on the street. That was around 6 o'clock. We exchanged one or two pleasantries, but it soon turned into a heated discussion. He was on his way out at the time, though, so I promised to visit his room that evening at 9 to continue our debate. But did I have any ill intentions? No! Not one! Not two! Not any! Not at all! Never, ever! Simple no would have sufficed, I feel. Tell the court what did happen when you visited the victim's room. Stop yawning during this, I'm so sorry. Oh, we had a heated... I'm not sure if that's... A literary debate about Shakespeare's work, I think you said, didn't you? Shakespeare? Ah, a very worthy topic of conversation, I must say. Oh yes, my lord. Romeo and Juliet, who was stronger? It was a profoundly pleasurable parley. Romeo and Juliet, who was stronger? I know I'm going to regret asking this, but how did the debate go? Oh, we both agreed that we would reach a conclusion more quickly with a reenactment. So we battled it out, in Greco-Roman style, naturally. What? Mr. Shamsby had all sorts of costumes in his room for just such a contest. So, when you say a reenactment, you mean you were actually in costume? He as Romeo, I as Juliet, and after a vigorous, wild tussle, I as Juliet came out on top, a victory I'll cherish forever! Nice. I dare not imagine the terrible scene of carnage. The fact remains that it was you who prepared the tea and took it to the victim, correct? I boiled the water in my room and made a pot to take with me. I heard that he was too poor to have tea himself, you see. It's true. There's no sign of any tea leaves in the man's room. He wanted to do something nice, to be friendly. So why is everyone looking at me with suspicion? My tea was harmless! Of course it was! Do you have any basis for that statement, witness? My tea was completely harmless.
Hold it!
Yes, there was not a drop of tea left in the victim's room anywhere, was there? That's correct. Anyone would think the fellow had never had a pot of tea before. He must have licked it dry. Which is a pity, because one drop is all we would have needed to analyze it for poison. And you say that you returned home to your room at 11 o'clock, Mr. Nutsmare? Yes, definitely! By heaven and earth, I swear it! The landlord was able to verify that as it happened. He confirmed that the defendant went back to his room at 11 that night. And how is that landlord able to attest to this? He said it was the lamps, I believe. The lamps, Inspector! When tenants return to their rooms and start using gas, the lamps in other parts of the house flicker. Yes, Mr. Garrett seems to pay a lot of attention to the comings and goings of his tenants. There's only one key to Mr. Shamsby's room. I know that's for certain. So he must have locked the door himself from inside his room. The victim has confirmed that to be the case, yes. So one point, my tea was harmless, completely harmless. If you take poison, you die. Everyone knows that. It's not that simple, I'm afraid. What do you mean? Strychnine takes some...
Hold it!
How long does it take for symptoms to appear then? According to the coroner I was speaking to at the yard, about 30 minutes after the poison is consumed. And the victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping, and stiffness, and eventually dies from asphyxiation. So there's a 30-minute interval between when the poison is ingested and the onset of symptoms. He didn't die though. There seem to have been a lot of different types of poisons in the world, that's for sure. Oh dear, death by poisoning again. It's always so awful. 30 minutes is a long time. Certainly long enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left. And you can't deny that. And it further degrades Soseki-san's alibi. I have the medical report from the doctor who examined the victim here, my lord. It spells it out really. The accused is the only person who could have done it. Very well, the court will add this report to the court record as evidence. Oh, yes, I see here. Delayed onset of symptoms. Let's read it together, shall we? Ingestion of a small quantity of strychnine. Toxic effects present 30 minutes after ingestion. High likelihood of the substance having been mixed with the tea. High likelihood doesn't mean it's definitive. The victim was drinking, but no sample could be obtained for testing. The poisoning incident occurred at around 1:30 a.m. on 21st of February. Assessed from the victim's pocket watch that appears to have been broken when the victim collapsed after the delay onset. No container for the poison was found in the scene. Great!
Hold it!
The argument still stands, you say? This is what Mr. Natsume has been saying, isn't it? The pair of them drank tea together that night, so if there was poison in it, the victim wouldn't have been able to lock the door after the accused left later on. Exactly! Ah! Me and my tea are innocent! Sweet and innocent, I tell you! afraid, sir, that doesn't follow. You see, strychnine is a slow-acting poison. In other words, it takes time for the symptoms to appear. So you could have left the room up to 30 minutes after the victim drank the tea. And as long as you did that, Mr. Shamsbury could have locked the door after you'd gone. What? No! We drank the tea straight away! We? The battle over whether Romeo or Juliet was stronger, that came after the tea! Do you have any evidence to support that statement? In my great homeland, the Empire of Japan, you have a saying. Drink tea while it's hot! Sure, the proverb will satisfy the prosecution. I'm afraid there's no conclusive proof to support the defendant's assertion. On the contrary, there are sufficient grounds to infer his guilt in this matter. No! That's the extent of their testimony, isn't it? If I could voice a personal opinion, Mr. Naruhodo? Of course, go ahead. Mr. Natsume is arguing for his innocence so adamantly and so persistently. Yet Inspector Gregson just brushes what he says aside. It's really quite infuriating! I agree. So we need to find an inconsistency in what the inspector is saying, I think. I'm afraid so. As things stand, the jurors are sure to find Mr. Natsume guilty. So see it? What we need to focus on is the poison and the tea. Let's listen carefully to this testimony again. Yes. Oh, we need to present something. Okay. Hold on a second. I'm getting a bit confused about the times now. Because... oh wait, how do I explain this? Shamsbury delayed drinking his tea, I'm guessing. Yeah, no tea ring on the inside of Mr. Natsume's cup. Right, so he delayed it. He drank it sometime after. I'm not sure it was whenever Natsume was there or not. He drank it eventually by the looks of it. I don't know when. I'm not sure if this photograph will help right now. It says the poisoning incident occurred at around 1:30 AM, but didn't Natsume say something he left at 11? What's the time discrepancy? We had a heated... he left at 11, and then he got killed at... and Shamsbury got killed over at 1:30. I feel like there's something up here. I don't think it's a direct contradiction though, but it is very glaring to me. Okay, Okay, I'll leave it alone. The argument still stands. Wait, did I look at the symptoms? Okay, I don't think they go too deep into symptoms, if anything. Oh my gosh, yeah, I think we can leave this one alone, really. This one, it's not that it contradicts, but like, I think we're trying to say that, what are we trying to say here? But the thing is, we don't know when Shamsby drank the tea, do we? Like, did he drink it after Nutsmere left, or like while Nutsmere was there? And if they did share the tea when they were together, and then the incident happened at 1:30, like well after Nutsmere left, hours after, or like 2.5 hours, but you know, it's still sizable. Tea was. Yeah, I don't think we're contesting this either. We're not contesting that. I mean, you two are saying the same thing, aren't you? Is it just me? Oh gosh. And I'm pretty sure, like, after we pressed all the statements, Susato was like, oh, go press on Gregson. Right, I think she said something to that effect. Yeah, finding an inconsistency in what the inspector is saying. But like, what? Keel over immediately. Well, we're not saying he did keel over immediately, so you say. So I don't think this is the statement we're contesting. Would have been perfectly able to... But then you two were saying the same thing, I'm so confused. Not me being stuck on the second case, this is embarrassing. Oh, are we saying that, oh, if they drank the same tea... Yeah, I feel like we're bringing up the tea right about now. Like, trying to prove the rings. Not this again. Able to lock the door.
Objection!
Fuck. I mean, I knew it was wrong, I was just... Yeah, me too. Just a bit... yeah, we were playing Devil's Advocate! Duh! Yes, you do appear to have something of a devil in you, Mr. Naruto. Is this man merrily dishing out penalties? My bad. I'm not using story mode. I'm not going to use story mode. The built-in walkthrough. I will not be doing that. Okay, I think we're contesting this. Don't know how, but... I mean, this doesn't really indicate time. I'm just gonna use up my penalties.
Objection.
Okay, never mind. I did not cheat, I promise. The argument still stands, you say? Oh, I think not, Inspector. Come again? Yeah, I'm gonna need you to spell this out for me too, because I'm a bit stuck. I think you'll find that you've overlooked a very significant chronological inconsistency here. A chrono what? What are you on about? According to this report, the victim must have consumed the poison around 1:30 in the morning. And yet, the defendant, Mr. Nutsman, left the victim's room at 11. Ah! Yes, that's right. There's more than 2 hours of missing time there. In other words, if there was poison in the tea that Mr. Nutsmere brought to the victim's room, how could the victim have fallen ill to it 4 hours after the defendant left? Oh! The defense's argument is entirely reasonable. How do you respond, Lord Von Zeeks? Pray forgive the discourtesy, if my mind has wandered. I was considering what cuisine would best complement the contents of my hallowed chalice this luncheon. How could it have happened, you ask? I do hate to shatter illusions, but my Nipponese friend appears to be chasing a phantom ideal. A phantom? Is it so hard to imagine that the victim drank his tea after the accused had left? For example, at the time stated in the medical report. Yes, at around 1:30.
Objection.
Mr. Nutsman brought the tea with him to drink together with his neighbor. And in Japan, there is a well-known saying. Drink tea while it's hot.
Objection.
And in my country, there's an even more apt saying. There is nothing more refreshing than cold tea. A cultural debate. The point is, if there was such a long gap, there may be other ways to explain how the victim came to be poisoned. Other possibilities. What sort of possibilities, counsel? Well, for example, the man could have had another visitor. Another visitor? That's a very bold assertion, my learned friend. From someone who has nothing to substantiate it. Or the victim could have taken the poison of his own volition. You suggest this may have been a suicide, counsel.
Objection.
Mr. Shamsby has categorically denied suicide. The ID can and must be discounted.
Objection.
He could be lying! Why would he lie about that, though? Really grasping at straws here. Is something wrong, Lord Von Zeeks? I was listening to the sound of the carriage pulling up outside the courtroom. Pray, forgive the discourtesy. Carriage? What carriage? It would seem that the key player in this case has just arrived. Out, brief candle! Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Who, sir, are you? William Shamsby, my lord. Alas, 'twas I undone by these bitter events. I am the victim. What? What's he doing here? The prosecution seeks to call this gentleman to the stand. With his testimony, my learned friend's futile resistance will be utterly crushed. You're calling him as a witness? Very well, counsel. I grant your request with interest. I'm curious to discover what the court shall hear from the victim himself. Happy am I, Shamsby, to regale thee with my tale of woe, my lord. I still have my own tale to tell, my own tale of worse woe. I can regale the court with a tale of my perfect innocence and perfect English. That will do, Mr. Natsume. Let the court now hear from the victim. Alright, so that's Mr. Shamsby. But who's that? The other man beside him? Yes, I feel sure we've caught a glimpse of that man before, once or twice. State your names and occupations for the court, please, witnesses. A writer of words so sweet they do scent the breeze, an inventor of ideas so profound they compose the earth. The unrivaled poet, the unmatched scribe, William Shakespeare. With a great bard to be recalled to life anew. Lo, what a magnificent man! Good fellows, I am he who ponders such a miracle, William Shakespeare. Oh, the name's Meterman. Adrian B. Meterman. I work for the Altamont Gas Company, East End branch office. Ah, I remember now. It was yesterday on Briar Road. Oh yes, she's right. It's him. Not running away this time, eh? Oh, what's this? Snoop. What's that man doing over there? It looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, excuse me, could we have a word? Ah! Alright then. What's he doing on the stand today, I wonder? Yes, we spotted him outside Mr. Gerardup's house that morning. He's a gas company employee. What does he have to do with this case? So, Mr. William Shamsby, you are the victim in this miserable affair, correct? Oh, heaven, oh hell, do you command me to remember that sweet poison that did cross me and cross mine innocent lips?
I subpoenaed him for the trial, with his doctor's permission, naturally. Hearing the testimony of the aggrieved will remove any room for doubt from the jurors' minds, I'm sure.
Behold, you have only to rearrange the letters of my name to see that me's a seraph, an angel indeed. Thus be I noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart, as all heavenly angels be.
Because there isn't a less contrived meaning in your name. No, not at all. No.
The jurors seem to be very moved by this man, I'm afraid. They're actually taking this seraph anagram idea seriously.
Thank you, witnesses, for your illuminating introductions.
But my lord, what's the man next to Mr. Shamspeare doing here? The gas man, I mean.
What? Me? Well, now.
Allow me to enlighten my learned friend. You recall, I presume, your earlier impertinence?
When you suggested that the victim had another visitor to his room on the night in question. And, moreover, that the victim is a compulsive liar.
Well, I didn't quite say that.
This young chin-stroker is here to controvert your wild claims conclusively. Is that not so, Mr. Meterman?
Hang on, no. I'm just here.
Okay then. I hereby call for your formal testimonies. You will tell the court as lucidly as possible what happened on the night in question.
One may smile and be a villain.
Yes, it doth pain me, but let the truth be spoken. The truth of that wintry night of my discontent.
The snow lay about. My neighbour did cometh in the evening, bearing a gift of tea. But marry, bitter was his drink, and when he left, I did fall prostrate on my table. 'Twas the tea alone that did pass my lips that late hour, naught else.
I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room. No one else visited his room but that short little round-backed eastern fellow.
Oh, not good. What did you say? You were keeping an eye on Mr. Shamspeare's room all night?
That's right. Of course, the bloke's window is all but blocked up, isn't it? There's a little gap in the bricks where you can see into the room. Okay, creepy. So I spent the night trying to keep my teeth from chattering as I peered in through that.
The question is, sir, why?
Well now, it's because he's on my list.
What a piece of work is a man! Wherefore wouldst thou not stare in wonderment?
What are you talking about?
This buzzing busybody hath no part in this play. I pray thee, pay him no heed. Make no more ado about his tedious works.
What you say about me?
Calm yourself. This court is concerned with what happened on the night in question. Nothing more. Indeed, that is so. And, as the testimony we have just heard clearly reveals, there was no one other than the accused present at the time who could have carried out this crime. Oh, bars.
Well, I believe this may be the final testimony of the trial. We'll see about that. Now, counsel, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord! Okay, that's true.
Hold it!
Let me stop you there. Mr. Natsume left your room at 11 o'clock, and it wasn't until 2 that the poison made you collapse. That amounts to more than 3 hours of missing time. Mood. If the defendant had really put the poison in your tea, that 3-hour window of time is something you're going to have to explain. Gladly, 'tis an easy task. What? I did drink the tea not while my guest did tarry, but after he took leave of me. Faith, 'twas stone cold, but at 1 hour post midnight, verily were my lips parched.
Objection!
Doesn't sound normal. Oh well, we can't really contest that, Inosuke. Nay, 'tis quite ordinary, sire. After all, thou wouldst recall a fiery debate. Amidst such argument, there'd be no time for fiery tea. Romeo and Juliet again. And who was the stronger? Mr. Shamsby, in summary, allow me to confirm. Did you not come here with the intention of naming your attacker? But of course, my liege. 'Twas the stooped lover of words did attempt to shuffle me off this mortal coil. Ugh, we all know what that means. 'Twas the tea alone did pass my lips that late hour, naught else.
Hold it!
Sure about that? Oh, no. So, you didn't have any kind of evening meal? Dinner? Supper? Ha! Fie on luxury! Fie on gluttony! To eat thrice daily is but a waste of time! Sorry? I would that my belly were full, no more off than the sun doth rise. Well, most heroic eating habits, I must say. Night and day do I fill my hours with learned study of the great bard and playwright. Hence is it that doth not be my chamber, be then the costumes of mine art. That would appear to be the case, as even a rodent was found starved to death in your room. Oh. Now I think of it, it's not just food that was conspicuously missing from the room, is it? I don't recall seeing a single play or script anywhere. For I have devoured them all. What? You've eaten them? Every word be within my skull. Dost thou imagine otherwise? Right, that wasn't misleading at all. Could you turn around, do you think? Which brings us to the conclusion that the only way the poison could have passed the victim's lips is in the tea. I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on it.
Hold it!
The windows of the house have all been filled in. A historical artifact of the now defunct window tax. Yeah, you're right there. All bricked up horribly. Well, as it happens, there's a little part of the brickwork at the bottom corner that's been opened up. I was looking in through that gap. Yes, there were a few big bricks loose, weren't there? If for some strange reason, a couple of bars of soap lined on the ledge outside as well. I don't like going around poking my chin in other people's business, especially on freezing cold nights. But them's my orders, so that's what I'll keep doing. As long as there's breath in my body! What's with all the theatricals today? Out of interest, Mr. Meterman, after the accused had left and returned to his own lodgings, did you see the victim leave the room at all? No! He never left! He was in that room the whole time as far as I'm concerned! And we can therefore discount the possibility of suicide. How can you be so sure of that? The police carried out a thorough investigation of the scene and found no receptacle for the poison. And since we know the victim didn't leave his room, and hence didn't dispose of the poison's container himself, it's clear that this was no attempted suicide. Only the culprit could have removed the receptacle. Oh yes. Lucidly explained, Counsel. Thank you. It really was. You can't argue with the logic. No one else visited his room but that short little round...
Hold it!
You say a short little round-bagged Eastern fellow. So you can't be sure it was the defendant then?
Objection!
How many other short little round-backed Nipponese with a mustache do you think there are in London? Oh, of course. It's only a narrow gap and it was quite dark, so I didn't notice the mustache. He showed up at around 9, so I'm pretty sure of myself. And when the person you saw arrived, did he and Mr. Shamsby drink tea together? Nah, sorry. I couldn't say. Why not? Because I couldn't see into the room all that well, could I? But what I did see was the silhouette of that little roundback fellow wearing a pretty dress. Ooh. And the pair of them started some kind of wrestling match. I tell you, I didn't know what to make of it. I suppose that was the Romeo and Juliet championship battle getting underway. Mr. Meterman, allow me to confirm one final time. Apart from the accused, can you state with certainty that no one else visited the victim on the night in question? No question! Gasman's honour! So that's the entire testimony. What do you think, Mr. Nuttlehuddle? I can't see any obvious holes at all, to be honest. No. Oh dear. If nobody else visited Mr. Shamsby's room that night apart from Mr. Nutsmere, I imagine the members of the jury will all conclude the same thing. That he's guilty. All we can do is press these witnesses for more information and hope for a breakthrough. Oh, I just need to press that one statement, I guess. I didn't think there was anything to contest, but...
Hold it!
To be clear, by neighbour, you are referring to the defendant, Mr. Nutsmere? Oh, indeed, sire. Perchance thou wouldst that I call him the man from upstairs? And at what time did the mustachioed Nipponese visit you in your room? Our meeting was promised of the hour of 9, and lo did he come to tender a gift of fragrant tea. Details of which are in accordance with the defendant's own testimony, yes. And we were broiled in such literary debate as history hath not seen before. By which I presume he means a discussion about who was the stronger, Romeo or Juliet. I, Shamsby, did play the part of young Romeo, whilst my neighbour played the fair Juliet. Each of us dressed as would our characters be, to bring weight upon our merry experiment. I dare not imagine the scene. Frailty, thy name is a woman. Canst thou imagine how dismayed I was? Yes, I had heard of the eastern art of jiu-jitsu, but now did I dream 'twould be a skill practiced by the comely maiden. Juliet beat Romeo up? This is not helping our case. I believe the court has heard enough about your earth-shattering literary debate. Perhaps you could reiterate your statement about the tea that the accused brought to your room. My liege, I am thy servant. Gladly, I would do thy bidding. Eh? My lord! Goodness me! Yes, Mr. Foreman? I've kept my mouth shut and listened up to now, but this has gone on long enough! Are you all with me? Yes! Are we to understand that you ladies and gentlemen of the jury are in agreement with one another? That you've reached a unanimous decision? Too right we have! Are you all with me? Yes! Wait, no! The defense is in the middle of a cross-examination! To be honest, I was holding out a bit of hope for you, young man. Especially after you identified those few hours that followed the accused leaving the victim's room.
Yes, the 3 missing hours, as you put it. But in the end, what difference do they make? None as far as I can see. And since that's now apparent, there's really no reason to delay our decision any longer. Like I was saying before, if I don't take 5 bob home with me tonight, the missus will blow on top. What's that? Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said.
Very well, let the court be apprised of your decisions. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
All of you? Well, it would appear that the jury is indeed unanimous. So, this time at least, seems justice will be done. All's well that ends well, as they say. This calls for a toast, I feel. To the guilt being punished! To the guilty being punished!
Get up, Mr. Nullholder, please! The trial isn't over yet!
What do you mean, Mrs. Suttle?
What about the information I found in this encyclopedia of British law I have? An obscure right that belongs to the defense in these situations, remember?
Summation examination? Yes, that's right. We don't have a jury in Japanese courts, of course. We're here in a British court of law. We can reverse the decisions of a majority of the jurors. We can force the trial to continue. on end now. Whatever it takes, I just can't let that happen. The defense moves to invoke its right to a summation examination, my lord. Why am I not surprised? Are my learned Nipponese friends' inability to admit defeat? You choose to cling desperately to some archaic rule you barely comprehend instead of accepting the truth. Certainly no other defense counsel in recent times has exercised the right to a summation examination. Because they all know that once the jury's mind is set, it cannot be altered. Nevertheless, the right remains and must be upheld. The defense counsel's request is granted. This court will proceed with a summation examination as outlined in the Encyclopedia of British Law. Thank you, my lord. Are you and your fellows prepared, Mr. Foreman? Believe me, my lord, we all know about this young lad's tenacity. We're ready for it. Very well. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby call upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime for which he stands accused.